Soho is one of Manhattan's coolest neighborhoods. The cobblestone streets, the cast iron architecture, the luxury boutiques where a handbag costs more than a month's rent. But here's what nobody wants to admit. Soho didn't just transform. It was taken away. And the thieves? They're celebrated as heroes. Urban planners, activists, art dealers, developers. Every single one thought they were saving Soho. But what they actually did was vanish the soul of a neighborhood that once meant something. This isn't a story about gentrification. It's a story about 8 people who made 8 decisions and got very, very rich while Soho's heart stopped beating. Chester Rapkin doesn't get statues, but he gave Soho its name. In 1962, an urban planner named it south of Houston. Soho for short. Sounds cool, right? Except Rapkin isn't trying to brand a neighborhood. He's marking it for demolition. His report recommends clearing the entire district. The buildings are obsolete. The factories are dying. The whole area is blighted. Rapkin sees a wasteland that needs to be wiped clean and rebuilt. What he doesn't see are the massive loft spaces. The natural light pouring through those tall windows. The bones of something extraordinary. Rapkin gets paid for his report. The city files it away, and the name Soho sticks. Years later, when artists make the neighborhood legendary, everyone forgets that the man who named it wanted it erased. Jane Jacobs becomes a legend by stopping Robert Moses and his Lower Manhattan Expressway. She organizes protests. She packs community meetings. And in 1968, she wins. The expressway is canceled. Soho is saved. Jacobs celebrates preservation over demolition. She champions the idea that old buildings have value. She's absolutely right. But here's what she doesn't predict. By saving Soho, she makes it legendary. By stopping the expressway, she keeps the cast iron buildings intact. And those intact buildings become the most desirable real estate in Manhattan. Jacobs moves to Toronto in 1968. The same year she wins. She never sees what happens next. How her victory becomes the first domino. How saving Soho from destruction means condemning it to something worse. The neighborhood survives the bulldozer only to face something deadlier: money. Doris Friedman loves artists. As New York's Cultural Affairs Commissioner, she wants to help them. In 1969, hundreds of artists are living illegally in Soho's old factory buildings. They're squatting in spaces zoned for manufacturing. The city could evict them all. Friedman has a better idea. She creates a new zoning classification: joint living work quarters for artists. Artists can now legally live and work in these lofts. Friedman thinks she's protecting a creative community. What she actually does is make Soho official, legitimate, desirable. The underground scene becomes sanctioned. And once something is sanctioned, it can be sold. Friedman genuinely wants to help. But her good intentions pave the road to Soho's misfortune. Because now everyone knows where the artists are. And everyone wants in. But legalizing the artists was just the beginning. The Durst family knows real estate. In the 1970s, when Soho is still rough, Douglas Durst sees an opportunity. He starts buying cast iron buildings dirt cheap. The neighborhood is barely legal for residential use. Most investors stay away. But Durst has patience. He's not flipping properties. He's holding them, watching as artists move in and make the neighborhood cool. Durst owns the buildings. The artists pay minimal rent and create maximum value. It's the deal of the century. By the 1980s, those buildings are worth millions. By the 2000s, tens of millions. Durst becomes one of New York's richest real estate families. He didn't create Soho's culture. He just owned the buildings where it happened. And when that culture made the neighborhood valuable, he cashed in. The artists made Soho legendary. Durst made the money. Larry Gagosian opens his first gallery in Soho in 1980. He's ambitious, ruthless, and he sees what's happening. Art is becoming an investment. Collectors are getting wealthy. Soho is the center of it all. Gagosian doesn't show experimental work by unknown artists. He shows blue-chip names. Established artists who sell for serious money. He brings high finance into the art world. Gallery openings become events. Champagne, celebrities, People who buy art because it appreciates. Gagosian turned Soho galleries into luxury businesses. He makes millions, then hundreds of millions. Today, he's one of the richest art dealers in the world. Soho made him, but he changed Soho. He proved that art wasn't about rebellion anymore. It was about money. And once art became an asset class, the artists who couldn't afford to play had to leave. Gagosian didn't force anyone out. He just made the neighborhood too expensive for the people who built it. And the transformation was just getting started. In 2001, Prada opens a flagship store at 575 Broadway. The architect is Rem Koolhaas, one of the most famous designers in the world. The store cost $40 million to build. It's not just a shop. It's a statement. A 23,000 square foot temple to luxury fashion. Koolhaas designs a wave-shaped floor, a glass elevator, display cases that look like art installations. The Prada store becomes iconic. Photographed, featured in magazines. Tourists visit just to see the architecture. Koolhaas wins awards. Prada's brand value soars. And Soho's transformation is complete. This isn't a neighborhood for artists anymore. It's a neighborhood for brands. Koolhaas doesn't apologize. He's an architect. He builds what clients pay him to build. But his design becomes the coronation. The moment Soho officially becomes a luxury shopping district. The cast iron buildings that once housed textile machines now house $1,000 handbags. Michael Bloomberg becomes mayor in 2002. He's a billionaire, a businessman, and he sees New York as a luxury product. In 2005, his administration rezones Soho. The artist in residence rules? Gone. Now anyone can buy those lofts. You don't need to be a certified artist anymore. You just need money. Bloomberg's team calls it modernization. But removing the protections opens the floodgates completely. Hedge fund managers, tech executives, international buyers. They snap up the lofts that artists fought to legalize. Prices skyrocket. The few remaining artists are priced out. Bloomberg leaves office worth over $50 billion. Soho becomes one of the most expensive neighborhoods in America. The artists who gave it soul can't afford to visit, let alone live there. Bloomberg doesn't see a problem. He sees success. In the 2010s, two major players dominate Soho real estate. Jeff Sutton and Thor Equities. They buy the best corners, the prime retail spaces, and they lease them to international chains. Nike, Apple, Uniqlo, Zara. The landlords don't want independent boutiques or art galleries anymore. They want corporate tenants with deep pockets and long leases. Sutton becomes one of New York's biggest retail landlords. Thor Equities controls massive chunks of Soho's most valuable blocks. The rents they charge are astronomical. Small businesses can't compete. The mom-and-pop shops vanish. The quirky galleries close. What replaces them looks like every other high-end shopping district in the world. Sutton and Thor Equities make billions. They didn't destroy Soho. They just finished what everyone else started. They turned the last remaining pieces of the neighborhood's soul into maximum profit. Here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. Every single person in this story thought they were doing the right thing. Chester Rapkin was doing his job. Jane Jacobs wanted to save neighborhoods. Doris Friedman wanted to protect artists. Douglas Durst wanted to preserve historic buildings. Larry Gagosian wanted to sell great art. Rem Koolhaas wanted to design beautiful spaces. Michael Bloomberg wanted economic growth. Sutton and Thor wanted to maximize their investments. None of them set out to destroy Soho. But, together, that's exactly what they did. They vanished the soul of a neighborhood that once meant something, and they all got rich doing it. Walk through Soho today. The cobblestones are still there. The cast iron facades still catch the light. The buildings are pristine, protected, landmarked forever. But Soho didn't die. It was embalmed. A beautiful corpse dressed in designer clothes. The artists who gave it meaning are gone. The underground spaces where creativity exploded are now corporate flagships. Soho's wild past is now just clean streets. You can still buy art in Soho. You just can't afford to make it there. The neighborhood that once rejected every rule now plays by all of them. And the 8 people who vanished its soul, they're still getting paid. Which decision vanished Soho's soul forever? The planner who named it? The activist who saved it? The dealer who made it expensive? Drop your answer in the comments. Want to own some cool New York products? Check out the designs inspired by today's story. Link in the comments. Hit like and subscribe for more New York vanished history. Click on this next video. If you thought SoHo's transformation was crazy, wait until you hear this next story.